This is From the South, teleSUR English's news show. My name is Reagan Devines. We begin here in Caracas, Venezuela, where Nicaraguan journalist and teleSUR correspondent Adriana Siveri was emotional during an interview after a dangerous encounter with violent opposition protesters. While covering protests early Monday morning, Siveri was shot in the back. The bullet stopped by her bulletproof vest. She had been accompanied by a cameraman. The attack directly contradicts the opposition's claim of engagement in peaceful protests, even attacking journalists who do not support their agenda.
I believe that, if you ask me personally, I believe they were aiming directly at us. I had a camera. We were in the neighborhood with a camera. I think they knew we were the press.
Oil workers in Trinidad and Tobago are among the latest Caribbean voices to express their support for Venezuela's Bolivarian revolution and to demand an end to attempts to intervene in the country's internal affairs.
The social movement, the progressive social movement of Trinidad and Tobago is in absolute and complete solidarity with the Bolivarian revolution and what it symbolizes. We are very clear that it symbolizes an alternative to an economic system that is based on exploitation of man by man. An economic system where you have businesses are able to maximize profit at the expense of human beings and human rights.
Roberto Borge, a former governor for Mexico's ruling Institutional Revolutionary Party, has been arrested in Panama on charges of corruption. Borge, who was governor of the state of Quintana Roo until last year, was detained in Panama City Airport as he was preparing to board a flight to Paris. Mexico's Attorney General's office said a warrant for Borge's arrest was issued on suspicion that he had been handling funds of illicit origin. Borge has denied the allegations. Colombian authorities and leaders of social movements have reached an agreement that ends more than 20 days of civil strike and protests in the Afro-Colombian city of Buenaventura. A draft law will now be presented to Congress for the creation of a special 10-year development plan in the region. After popular pressure, the government of President Juan Manuel Santos has now approved an economic fund for an initial amount of just over $500,000 for this year. About 320 protesters had been injured by riot police during the demonstrations. And Colombia's finance ministry has been asked to provide over $1 million in initial funding for the FARC rebel group's new political party. According to the Electoral Commission, the financing will be granted as soon as the group finishes a weapons handover. All political parties in presidential and legislative campaigns receive some state funds, though amounts can vary. Brazilian President Michel Temer is under pressure to resign as multiple corruption scandals continue to swirl around him. The country's top electoral court is set to rule on a case that could remove him from office. The case deals with allegations of illegal financing for his 2014 campaign as running mate to former President Dilma Rousseff. French police shot and wounded a man who attacked officers with a hammer outside the Notre Dame Cathedral earlier this Tuesday. The motive for the attack was not immediately clear, but according to the BBC, the man allegedly shouted, "This is for Syria." The Paris prosecutor's office has launched a counter-terrorism investigation. Russia's Federal Security Service says there are no immediate threats of terror in the country ahead of the Confederations Cup. Security measures would be appropriately tightened during the soccer tournament, according to the organization's deputy head. The Confederations Cup tournament will take place between June 17th and July 2nd. There is more on these and other stories on our website, telesurtv.net/English. For teleSUR English, I'm Reagan Devines.